Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Nikhil Kumar and today we are talking about Ansible Inventory. In this video, we will explore how Ansible Inventory helps you to manage and organize your servers, allowing you to automate tasks efficiently across multiple hosts. Think of it as a foundation of your Ansible automation efforts. Stick around till the end where we will dive into the real world demo using HAProxy and web servers. So what is the Ansible Inventory? It is a fundamental part of Ansible that defines and organizes the host, essentially the servers managed by the Ansible. The primary purpose of Ansible inventory is to allow efficient management of these servers, making it easier to automate tasks and across multiple machines. As your infrastructure evolves, the inventory helps you to dynamically adjust your configuration. There are two main types of inventory. First, static inventory, defined in a simple INI or YAML files, ideal for consistent environments. Dynamic inventory uses scripts to automatically pull host information from cloud app providers or other dynamic resources. Think of Ansible inventory as a directory or an address book for all your servers. It keeps everything organized and manageable, making your automation tasks much more straightforward. Now let's talk about hosts and groups in the Ansible inventory. Hosts are the individual server managed by Ansible. Think of them as a building block of your infrastructure. Groups. Groups are the collection of these hosts. Grouping allows for organized management of similar server types, such as web server or databases. The benefits of grouping are clear. It simplifies task execution across multiple servers and makes it much easier to manage similar server types. By using group, we can target different environments or services with a single playbook. Now it's time for the fun part, the demo. In this segment, we will walk you through how to use Ansible CLI to display and manage your inventory. We will start by configuring a static inventory file for our EC2 instances. I will show you how to run commands across multiple hosts in just one go. So let's switch to our VM. So as you can see, I have already created a 4 EC2 instances. So one is my Ansible node and other is my load balancer node and rest of the two will be the web server nodes. So in this demo, what I will be doing, I will be configuring this particular node as a load balancer and these two will be the backend web server. So when we hit this particular load balancer, it will reflect the page from these web server. So right now I have already configured my Ansible machine and if you see, I have already installed Ansible here. I have already set up SSH keys for the EC2 instances to allow Ansible to connect securely. This is a one-time setup that enables seamless automation across servers, making it easier for Ansible to execute Ansible tasks without needing to authenticate each time. A similar step can be done if you're working on the on-prem. So let's start with our demo. So first of all, we will create one directory structure here, like that is a Ansible inventory. So inside that, we will be creating one inventory file. So inside that we will be placing our host information. So first, this is my load balancer node. So let's put the IP address of this particular node over there. And I need to keep these two nodes as a web server over there. So I will be getting the IP address and pasting in that particular file. These two are web servers. So right now I need to group these two servers together so that whenever I run some playbook to configure the web server, only these set of hosts will be target and used by those particular playbook. Okay, so for that I am putting a group over there, so web servers. So this means this particular host are the member of this particular group called web server. Similarly, if I want to group this particular host as a load balancer, I can create a square bracket, put the group name, right now LB, and square bracket closed. So if I put LB in my playbook, so this particular host will be used as a target host over there. Similarly, if I use web servers in my playbook, These two target hosts will be used to configure the web server. So this will be used to manage a multiple servers at a one time using the one playbook. If I have a 5 or 10 servers, web servers at the back end, so I just need to add that particular host into this particular web server group, and those particular web server should be configured as a web server over there. Okay, so if I run the CLI command here, Ansible inventory, and pass the inventory file name and hyphen list, so it will show the complete list of inventory along with the host and the groups. If you see here, we have a two groups, LB and the web server. And another LB, we have a host called 145. Under web server, I have two hosts, that is 24 and 161. Using this, we can see the complete list of our Ansible inventory. So right now in our demo, what we are going to do, we are going to configure one instance as a load balancer. So for that, we will be using a HAProxy package, and other two instances as web servers. For that, we are using the HTTPD Apache package. Okay, so let's create a playbook first. Set up HAProxy and web server.yml. So first we need to run the playbook to configure the load balancer. So that particular playbook should be run on the top of LB group. So I've already configured that. And inside that, we are going to place our tasks. First, we need to install the HAProxy package. Install HAProxy package. So for that, we have a module called Ansible built-in.package, and the name of package is HAProxy, and the state should be present. Then we need to update the configuration. Update configuration of HAProxy. For that, we should having a configuration file already placed in this particular machine. So we will do one trick here. So we will install the HAProxy in this Ansible machine to get the configuration file so that we can use the same configuration file as a template for our automation for the target host. So we will be having the configuration file under the HAProxy, haproxy.config, and we will be copying it here. So right now we have this particular file here, .haproxy.cfg. So we will be going to use this file as a Jinja2 file. Jinja2 makes our automation configuration dynamic and reusable, which is very useful when managing different environments. So if you're interested to learn more about Jinja2 templates and how they can use in Ansible, let me know in the comment section. I would be happy to create another video covering that in more detail. So let's continue with the demo to see how it comes together with HAProxy. So if we go at the last of this, so here we need to update the backend application dynamically on the basis of the web servers. So these are the static information which is already placed in that. So we don't need this information. So instead of this, we will be using a Jinja format here to update this information dynamically. For that, I am creating a for loop here in Jinja for host in groups dot web servers. What is the meaning of this line? That means there is a group called web server. Inside that, whatever the host we are having, it will be getting that host and updating that information here. So server app, so loop dot index, curly braces closed, and host, and it should be at port 80 and check. And end of for loop. So I will explain you this particular thing. So it will be iterating over the group of web server and getting that particular host one by one, and it's updating the index value that each host in the web server group. So there will be a two groups, two hosts over there. So index will be 1 and 2. So it will be making a 2 entry, and it will be updating the information or the IP address of the host here. Okay, so it will be like dynamically updating this particular information. And similarly for the front end, I am not going to use the 500,000 port. So I will be using the port number 80 here. Okay, so and another thing is that if we are using the Jinja2 format, we need to rename this file as a J2, like the HAProxy.cfg.j2. That means a Jinja2 format. So we will be using the Jinja2 format here. And if we update our playbook, and if we go in this particular task, so that is ansible.buildin.template is the module name. And here source is our HAProxy.cfg.j2. So it's pick this particular configuration file, Jinja2 file, from our current working directory on which our playbook resides. And the destination should be the default HAProxy configuration. Okay, once this is done, we need to start the service and enable it as well on every reboot. HAProxy service building dot service, name is HAProxy, state is started, and enabled is equal to yes. Okay, so this is our one play which is being used to configure a load balancer. So inside one playbook, we can define a multiple play. So right now, what I'm going to do, I will be creating another play which will be used to configure these two web servers. Okay, so for that, I will be using the same keyword called host, which will be targeting the web servers group. And for that, we have a task. First is to install web server HTTPD, and the module name is ansible.buildin package, and the name is HTTPD, and state is present. So we need to update the web page on each host. So for that, we will be using the same approach called Jinja2. So what we are going to do over there, we will be creating one file called index.html.j2. In that, what we are going to do, we will be putting like web page from the IP address of that particular machine. So we can get to know which particular machine we are using to get the information using the load balancer. So right now we will be using the inbuilt facts or the variable which is provided by the Ansible default IPv4 dot address. So each time whenever we trigger our playbook, it gathers some facts and it generates these particular variables. So we can use this variable in our playbook to get the information populated. So dynamically we will be using this particular value and update the IP address on the fly and update this particular web page onto the document root of the web server. Okay, so if you see the extension is J2 here as well. So this is the content. So let's update this, and if we update here, so source is index.html.j2, Destination is where www.html/html, sorry, index.html. Then we need to start web server service, and for that we will be using the same module service, and name is httpd, and state is started, and it should be enabled on reboot, so that is yes. So if we see this particular playbook now, it has two plays. One is to target the load balancer, which will be performing the HAProxy configuration. Another is to target the web server group, which will be configuring the web server and updating the index file web page over there. So if we see here, right now, HAProxy is not installed. Okay, so let's run this playbook. So Ansible-playbook and the set. So right now, if you see, it shows no host match because I haven't passed the inventory file here, and our inventory file is this one. Okay, so to automate to configure these particular hosts, we need to pass the inventory information in the CLI. So for that, we have an option called -I and the inventory file name. So right now it's inventory and the playbook name. So right now if you see, it started gathering the fact of the load balancer, that is a 145. So 145 is our load balancer node. So it started the configuration of HAProxy and it updated those configuration, and now it started updating the web server machine, that is 161 and 24, but 24 and 161. So if you see, the configuration got completed successfully. Okay, and if we see here, etc haproxy.cfg, this particular information got updated automatically on the fly from the server information of the web server. So I placed web server information 24 and 161. So it automatically got updated along with the index value, that is 1 and 2. And if we see here, we have updated the web page here. So here also it updated the IP address of this particular machine, that is a 24, dynamically. So if we, in the future, if we want to put 10 servers as a web server over there, 10 hosts as a web server in this particular automation, so we can just place this particular host information over there and automatically configure all those 10 server as a web server over there. Now let's try to connect with the load balancer now. So for that, this is the IP address. And if we paste this IP address, so right now it's coming from the 24 machine. If I refresh this particular thing, it will comes from the 161. So load balancer HAProxy follows the round robin methodology as a by default. So each time it will show the information from the new host. So 161, then again I refresh it, it comes from the 24. Again, so it comes from the 161. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video on Ansible Inventory helpful. For more detailed information, check out my blog post, link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Ansible related info content and along with the DevOps and MLOps. If you have any question or suggestion for future videos, feel free to drop them in the comment section. See you in the next video. Happy automating.